one team. One dream. One fan.
30, 20, 10, touchdown Miami!
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Friday evening, March the 20th. I'm your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo tonight. Hope everyone had a great Friday, TGIF, and the weekend is here. And there is a lot to talk about in the world of the Miami Dolphins, and we're going to break it down for you on today's show. As the Miami Dolphins added a player on Thursday, there's a new rumor out about another possible Miami Dolphins trade that might be brewing up here, and there's just so much to talk about this time of year as well. So before I get to all that, as always, let's get the business stuff out of the way first. This show tonight's brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to the website caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. Also, if you need stuff for the Miami Heat, the Miami Marlins, the Florida Panthers, the Miami Hurricanes, caneswear.com, caneswear.com, caneswear.com. If you're in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Also, a shout out to everyone watching this live at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And if you're watching us live right now on YouTube, do me a favor, smash that like button. Go down there, hit that little thumbs up, smash that like button. Excuse me. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And also, super chats are open. If you leave us a super chat between now and the end of the show, I will read it on the air. One last thing. If you have a business or a company you are looking to advertise, we are taking on advertisers on our website at DolphinsTalk.com and also here on the podcast with live reads. We have very flexible rates. If you want to advertise your company or your business, or if you have a product that you're trying to sell, reach out to me at DolphinsTalk1977@gmail.com. All right, let's start off with the special teams news, because on Thursday, the Miami Dolphins signed another punter, and this guy's also a kickoff specialist, Bradley Pinion. It's a one-year deal. We don't have the terms of the deal at this time. Pinion will turn 32 in June. He was a fifth-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers in 2015. He's played for San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and since 2022, the Atlanta Falcons. For his career, he has a 44.5-yard average on his punts. Now, last year in Atlanta, he had 64 punts for an average of 45.1 yards. His longest punt last year was 69 yards, and he had 34 of his 69 punts land inside the 20. Per PFF, for those of you that are into PFF, as a punter, he was the 11th rated punter out of 32 in 2025. In 2024, he was the 6th rated punter in the league. And in 2023, he was a number 1 rated punter in the NFL. So it's sort of, a little bit of a decline. He went from number 1 in 2023, 6 in 2024, 11 this past year, but still, top half of the league when it comes to punting. And really where he excels is as a kickoff person. And he can, boom the ball. And even with these new rules of like landing zones and trying to kick it and pin a team into a corner, that's where he excels as a kickoff specialist, because Miami right now has 2 kickers in Zane Gonzalez and Riley Patterson, who are pretty good on field goals, obviously, but one area where they kind of struggle is kickoffs. So if Pinion is the guy, he might handle those duties. Miami a week ago signed punter Seth Vernon out of the UFL. He spent a few training camps with Vikings, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta as well, but he's never kicked in the NFL in a real game. He's only kicked in the UFL. And here's something else to consider too. Zane Gonzalez and Bradley Pinion, both from Atlanta. So I don't know who's going to be a holder here, but if Pinion's a holder, he might be holding for the guy he's held for previously, which might have some synergy, which might give Zane Gonzalez an edge over Riley Patterson. We'll see. But, they said, and they also signed another long snapper in Tabor Pepper, who was with the Dolphins many years ago. I actually had him on this podcast a handful of years ago. So, John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley said they want a competition. Well, they ain't lying, because you're getting competition at punter, kicker, and long snapper. They got 2 guys at each position. Most teams do not do that. But they're going to have a competition at punter with Seth Vernon and Bradley Pinion. I'd probably give the edge here to Bradley Pinion. Zane Gonzalez, Riley Patterson, that really is going to be a true competition. Who just makes the most kicks probably in the summer. Then at long snapper, you got Tabor Pepper, and I think his name is Tucker Addington. So we got competition on special teams everywhere. Well, that's kind of, hey, you know what? When you're starting this from the ground up, no one's job should be safe, especially special teams jobs. Let's bring in all new people and may the best people win. So this was interesting. When the Miami Dolphins traded Jalen Waddle earlier this week, they took on more dead money at the cap, and they also lost some salary cap space in the process because of how Waddle's contract was structured. So for like a 24-hour period, a lot of people in the media and fans and stuff, myself included, were wondering, how did the Dolphins open up cap space to make this trade? Because they didn't have it. They had to like open up like $8 or $10 million roughly to execute this trade. You just can't trade Waddle. They didn't have the cap space to do it. Well, Thursday evening, the great Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, he reported sources told him that the Dolphins, prior to the Waddle trade, executed a simple restructure of Aaron Brewer and Devon Achane to create cap space. Now, these are simple restructures. These are not extensions. And both of these simple restructures do not have any effect if Miami wants to give these guys extensions in a week, in a month, in 2 months, in July, whenever. So these are simple restructures to open up enough salary cap space so they could trade Waddle to Denver, because they had to have salary cap space to stay under the cap. Right now, Miami is roughly $2 million under the cap as of this exact moment I am speaking. So they're right up against it. And that Waddle trade, they had to create cap space. Now, simple restructure probably means they converted part of their salary into a signing bonus. So they got some of the money paid up front this year and got it guaranteed so they could, open up a little salary cap space, just pretty much moving numbers around on paper. Not a big deal. So that lowered their salary cap number for this year, open up the cap space, ship Waddle off to Denver, just because how Waddle's contract was sort of structured. That's why if Miami wanted to trade, just for example, Zach Sealer, it'd be the same thing. The way his contract is structured, and any trade with him would have Miami lose cap space. They'd have to create cap space to trade him. I'm not saying they're trying to trade him. I'm saying the way his contract is structured for this year, it'd be the same type of situation. As with some other guys, it's not. Trading them would actually open up cap space. So each guy's contract is not the same. The Waddle one was a tough one to trade, which is why I have been saying this whole time, I think they're going to trade Waddle, just not till November, because at November, you played half the year, you paid off most of his salary. The cap hit would have been minimal. And then, come November, some team who's in the thick of a playoff or Super Bowl run might want to add him as a final piece. They did it now, which is, great, I guess, but they had to, move around some money with some players. And that's what they did to create the salary cap space. And, the fact that they restructured those two has people sort of talking a little bit. It's like, well, why those two? Well, when you look at this team as it sits right now, Waddle gone, Minka gone, Chubb gone, a lot of quote unquote star players or star names gone. Who are your star players on this team? Achane, obviously, Jordyn Brooks, Aaron Brewer. And these are the names when John Eric Sullivan was sort of speaking at the NFL Scouting Combine of, guys who might get extensions in the summer. That they really don't want to trade or move on from. And, John Eric Sullivan famously said at the Combine, which was like less than a month ago, when it comes to Waddle and it comes to Achane, don't want to trade them, but I'll listen to all calls, which means you're open to trading them. And, now Waddle's gone. So he restructured these two to open up the cap space, not Brooks. Why is that interesting? Let me do my Brian Windhurst. Why is that interesting? At the time, I didn't think it was interesting. As of this afternoon, I think it's very interesting. And that's because we have reporter Nick Harris, who covers the Dallas Cowboys for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And he is saying today that the Cowboys are very much interested in trading for a linebacker. And there's a few names on their wish list. One of the names was Patrick Queen, but they've sort of pivoted away from him because they don't feel it's possible to acquire him and it might not happen. So he goes, but the two names that the Cowboys are talking about internally trying to put together a trade package for are Jordyn Brooks and Azeez Al-Shaair of Houston. Now, this is the Cowboys having internal discussions to see if they should trade for these guys and if they can put together a package to make an offer to possibly get one of these guys. Let's talk about the Brooks part, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Houston, and they're a team that sort of was in the playoffs last year and all that fun stuff. That's their problem. Jordyn Brooks is one we want to talk about here. Brooks is in the final year of his contract. He's obviously going to be looking to get an extension. There's no guarantee he'll get one this summer, but I think, they probably will want to hand him one. But right now, on his current contract, Jordyn Brooks currently has 3 void years at the end of his contract after this year, because he's a free agent next year. He was an outstanding player last year for Miami. First team All-Pro. He had 183 tackles. I think he led the league in tackles. 13 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. No matter how bad the team played some weeks, he was their best player on defense week in, week out. But look what they did this week. When they needed cap space, they restructured Aaron Brewer and Achane. They didn't touch the contract of Jordyn Brooks. Well, maybe they're talking to Dallas. Maybe the Cowboys are like putting out feelers. Hey, we're kind of interested in Brooks. You seem to be rebuilding. You're trading off literally everybody. What would it take? What would it take to maybe get Brooks? And if you're Miami, it's like, well, I'm not going to touch his contract now. We might be able to trade him in a couple weeks. Like now, next week, maybe soon, or anytime prior to the draft. So why would you touch his contract if you think you might have a chance to trade him? And, he's kind of been off people's radar. I think most fans think, oh, he's untouchable. We're not trading him. Which every time someone says so-and-so's untouchable, I laugh, because no one's untouchable in Miami. I think John Eric Sullivan would trade his mother if it got him a top 100 pick, and I stand by that. So, yeah, this report that the Cowboys are having, they're talking amongst themselves here. We might want Jordyn Brooks. Maybe they've already reached out to Miami to gauge interest. Maybe the Dolphins have said, make us your best offer, and then we'll see. So the Cowboys are talking about this, and, Nick Harris is very respected journalist. Again, Fort Worth Star-Telegram in Dallas is a reputable newspaper, so we'll see. But there's a chance Jordyn Brooks here. Here's the deal. Everyone on Miami's on the trade block. There's only like 3 players in the league, and I can only come up with 2, but there's probably like 3 that are not, who won't get traded. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, maybe Lamar Jackson I would throw on that list. That's it. Everyone, if you throw together an offer, you could trade for Saquon Barkley. You could trade for Hurts. You can trade for anyone in this league if you put together a nice tough offer. Nobody's untouchable. And I'm telling you right now, in Miami, there is nobody who's untouchable in Miami. Everyone can be had. And especially a guy like Jordyn Brooks, who's in the final year of his contract, who they're going to have to make a call on Miami to either pay big money to with an extension, or they can trade him like they traded everyone else and run off every other high-priced player. Not run off, but moved on from every other high-priced player to get draft picks. And I think John Eric Sullivan wants to build this team in his vision. I think he wants his guys. And then guys who are, brought here by Chris Greer, he has, really no ties to or no love for. Obviously, Brooks is a great player. He's not stupid. He's not going to hand him away for nothing. But if the right offer came along, and maybe it's from the Cowboys now, who knows? Bye-bye Jordyn Brooks, I think. Now, what's the right offer? The Cowboys, here's what the Cowboys are sitting up. The Cowboys have, in the first 3 rounds, they got pick 12 in round 1, pick 20 in round 1. They have no picks in round 2, and they have pick 94 in round 3. Let me see. Let me see the round 4 pick. Draft picks. Let me see here. I know they got a pick in round 4 too. Hold on one second. And the round 4 is 112. I'm not going to go past round 4. A round 2 pick probably is the most fair value, but they don't have one, so can't talk about that. That leaves Miami. What do you do now? They're picking round 3, pick 94. I think is a good starting point. I'm sorry, pick 92. Pick 92. I think we have pick 94, actually. You got pick 92. My thought is this: if they gave us pick 92, and then we swapped pick 30 for pick 20, so you move up 10 spots in round 1, I'd trade Jordyn Brooks for that. Now, they might not want to do that, but I'd trade Jordyn Brooks for that. I would trade him for, pick 92, and we swap picks in round 1. Their second pick 20, our second pick 30. I think that's a fair trade. What's another possible trade? Well, maybe we take pick 3 this year, and maybe we take a third-round pick of theirs in 2027 for a pair of thirds. I'd do that. Would you trade Jordyn Brooks for a pick for their picks in round 3 and 4 this year? I don't know if they do that. I'm not sure I do that for Miami. How about this? How about if we don't get a pick in this year's draft? What if we trade Jordyn Brooks? How about this? We trade Jordyn Brooks for their 4th-round pick this year, 112, and their 2nd-round pick in 2027. Think I'd do that too. I want that 2027 draft's going to be an iconic draft. You're going to have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks going round 1. You got the Ohio State wide receivers probably going to go in round 1, top of round 1 someplace. You got the Alabama wide receiver. I mean, that's next year's draft, 2027. That's the draft you want to have stockpile picks. So there's a way, even though the Cowboys don't have a 2nd-round pick this year, you can make that work. But we'll have to see if the Cowboys want them. But here's what would have to happen. You have to have the Cowboys who would have to say, you know what, we want to add Jordyn Brooks. Okay, then they have to see, well, we have to pay him with an extension because what's the point of trading for him if we're not going to extend him? What's the money like? And I'm sure they can find it out from his agent. And I'm sure even if they called the Dolphins first, like, can we talk to his agent, talk about how much he'd be looking for before we talk trade compensation? They'd probably say yes. And then they got to talk to the Dolphins about trade compensation. Now, I think trade compensation, because I don't think John Eric Sullivan's going to be hard to work with here. Again, you got options. I'll take a 3rd and I'll take a pick swap in round 1 to move up 10 spots. I take a 2nd next year and maybe a 4th this year. I take a 3rd this year and maybe a 3rd. Like there's you can get a nice package for Brooks. It might not be your top choice, but you can get a nice package. So we'll keep an eye on this Jordyn Brooks thing. We'll see where it goes. And again, if the Miami Dolphins put something out, which I'm about to talk about next, like to do with Achane, we're not going to trade. Don't believe it, folks. Don't be so goddamn gullible. I mean, seriously, this is smokescreen season. Everyone is just, trying to drive up the price on their players. It's just, don't slip on the banana peel. Okay. Don't slip on the banana peel. So if a statement comes out, between now and like next Monday or Tuesday, where the Miami Dolphins like, well, we're not interested in trading, Jordyn Brooks, just like they did the same thing here with Achane. It's like, you can't be so gullible. They're just trying to drive up the price. That's all they're doing. They're just trying to drive up the price. And, I saw today, I guess there's a tennis tournament going on at Hard Rock Stadium, and there's some new signage around the stadium to sort of entice fans to buy season tickets for the Miami Dolphins or buy any form of tickets for the Miami Dolphins. And it's, who are they advertising? Well, you got Jeff Hafley, you got John Eric Sullivan. First off, when you're advertising the general manager, it's a bad sign that your roster stinks. I mean, it's a sign what team advertises their general manager in any type of publication or any type of signage? You don't usually have. You can advertise the coach. Nobody advertises the general manager. The Miami Dolphins in 2026 are advertising the general manager because they got no players to advertise anymore. They're all gone. And then who are some players on the side? You got Zach Sealer, you got Jordyn Brooks, and you got Devon Achane. Those all make sense. And I go, see, they're advertising those guys. They're on all the advertisements. They're not going to trade them. You know how cheap it is to come up with new posters, folks? Like, you can go to a Kinko's and get a new poster for like, I don't know, $10. Like, new posters, new signage. Like, if you think that's going to stop them from trading anybody, like this is $1 billion operation. A couple new posters from a FedEx someplace or like a Kinko's really ain't going to stop a trade of that magnitude. So don't think that's going to stop them from doing that. All right, before we talk about Achane, real quick here, shout out to everyone listening at finevan.com. Everyone go to finevan.com, the largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to, and please make sure you are subscribed to Dolphins Talk. Let me start this over because I just sort of spoke all over myself. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Audible, wherever. Subscribe. Next week, I already got like the first 5 shows lined up for next week. They're all bangers. I got a show Sunday morning. I'm going to have a show Sunday night. We got a big guest on Monday. We got someone coming out with us on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got 2 shows. I mean, we are so loaded between now and Wednesday, and that's not even talking about the end of next week. So make sure wherever you listen, you're subscribed. Again, on YouTube. If you're a YouTube watcher and someone who listens on YouTube, that's awesome too. Make sure you smash the like button. You're subscribed to the channel. And if you're watching me live right now, again, super chats are open. Send me a super chat, comment, question. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, I will read it on the air before the end of the show. All right, let's talk Achane. This was the other big story here from the past, 48 hours or so. Adam Schefter put out a tweet on Wednesday, I guess, saying that, sources have told Adam Schefter that all the teams that have called the Miami Dolphins about trading for De'Von Achane have been told he's not available, that they won't trade him. Let me pull back the curtain for you folks on how the NFL front offices, on how the NFL works and how NFL front offices work. That source who told Adam Schefter, that was John Eric Sullivan, the Dolphins general manager. You know why he said Achane's not available? Because he's talking in code. That means no team that's called him about Achane has given him the value he wants in a trade. So by John Eric Sullivan, just on a random Wednesday morning, picking up the phone to good old Adam at ESPN. Hey, Adam, can you put out a tweet for me? Everyone's speculating now that we trade a lot about Achane. Put out, we're not interested in trading him. Every team that's called us, we told them no. Guess what? If a team called him and offered him 2 first-round picks, he wouldn't have said no. He would have traded them. So it's not that he's not available. He's not available for the bullshit offers they've received so far. But by putting this out, he's reminding the world De'Von Achane's out there, and other teams are calling me about him. And every team that's called me, I said no. But you can call me about Achane, and that's all that is. Again, don't be gullible, Dolphins fans. John Eric Sullivan is sitting here playing chess, and he's trying to drum up interest to move De'Von Achane for more draft picks. Everything John Eric Sullivan has said in the media since he's been hired by the Dolphins is 100% honest, and he's proven it to be true with his actions. He said from the moment he was hired, whether it was his interview with Travis Wingfield or at the Combine, I want more draft picks. Now, when he said that, he had 5 picks in the top 90, I think 9 overall. Now he's got 7 picks in the top 94 and 11 overall. He said he wanted Miami to get in a healthier salary cap situation. Well, this year sucks, but next year this time, the Miami Dolphins are going to be one of the teams with the most salary cap space. So he's made moves to put them in a healthier salary cap situation just in 2027, not right away, obviously. John Eric Sullivan said the best time to acquire a starting quarterback is when you have one already. He didn't have one, so he went out and signed Malik Willis. Again, not stopping him from drafting a starting quarterback in round 1 in 2027 where, 5 or 6 are going to go because it's a loaded quarterback draft. And what he said at the scouting combine about not wanting to trade Waddle and Achane, pause, but I'll listen to offers if teams call me, is still where he's at today. What he had Adam Schefter tweet out, and yes, he had Adam Schefter tweeted out, folks, don't be naive, was nothing more than gamesmanship. He isn't going to give Achane away, but he wants more draft picks than what's been offered to him at this point in any trade offer. He wants to build this team in his vision with his guys. And I'm sure he would love to get a first-round pick for Achane, or maybe get 2 second-round picks for Achane. Again, chess, not checkers. Nobody is untouchable, especially on this crummy Dolphins roster. They will trade anybody. And every time I say that, there's always some wise guy. Well, they won't trade Patrick Paul. Like how they won't. You give him the right offer, he'll trade Patrick Paul. Now, no team's going to make that offer, but anyone is attainable. Like I said, there's only 2 or 3 guys in the league that are untouchable. Mahomes, Josh Allen, maybe someone else. That's about it. For the right offer, anyone can be had. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, John Eric Sullivan traded his mother for a top 100 pick. And he probably traded her to a team inside the AFC East. He wants draft pick. This guy is born and bred 30 years with the Packers where they just eat, sleep, breathe the draft. And this guy just is going to replicate that in Miami. It's the draft, the draft, the draft. He wants as many swings at the plate i.e. more draft picks. Because, yeah, you're not going to hit on all of them. But if I only got 4 and I hit on 2, I only added 2 good players. If I got 11 and I hit on, 7, now I just added 7 good players. So everyone's going to miss. He's got that baked in. But the more picks you got, especially top 100 picks, which are like gold, he's feeling real confident about turning this thing around. And look at what he's done this offseason. He has moved every big contract on his team. He has gutted this team down to only having 2 or 3 what you would call star players. Okay, Achane, Brooks, maybe Aaron Brewer, maybe. I mean, he's a center. But that's it. He has moved on from Chubb. He's moved on from Tua. He's moved on from Mink. He's moved on from Waddle. He's moved on from everybody who had name recognition or a big contract or whatever. And if he has the option, if the right offer comes in to trade Devon Achane, and then he also doesn't have to give Achane a big money extension that Achane's going to want, he's going to hold out for at the start of training camp because he wants, he will. He'll do it happily. He'll do it with a smile on his face, and he'll send Achane out of here so fast you won't. That'll be a news drop that'll hit everyone like a ton of bricks. Okay, because here's the deal with Achane. Yeah, he's great. He's also a little undersized, and is that someone you want to give big money to? Remember, from that Packers regime, what's the Packers mindset? Anytime you want to know what Miami will do, think about what happens with the Packers. They want size. Everyone in their secondary, tall guys, long arms. Everyone on their offensive line, big. They don't want, undersized linemen like Mike McDaniel. He wanted smaller guys who could move. He wants big. Quarterbacks. He's only 6'1", Willis, but he knows him, so I give him a little bit of a pass there. In general, he wants big guys. I guarantee you the next quarterback he drafts in round 1 here or round 2 is going to be a 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" guy. That's what the Packers do. That's what John Eric Sullivan is going to do. Achane is a little bit, he's great. He's got the numbers. Obviously, he's a great player. And, he might give him a restructure or he might give him an extension. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But if he has a chance to trade him instead of paying him big money, he will. Because John Eric Sullivan this offseason, with Stephen Ross's blessing, is showing the world he is willing to eat as much dead cap space this year as possible. And he doesn't care about having to even guarantee a player more money in order to trade or release him. Look at Tua. Look at Waddle. Examples. Exhibit A, Exhibit B. So when you see anyone in the media report, it was Adam Schefter this time, sources are telling me that they got no plans to trade Achane. It's grade A bullshit. Said the same thing about Waddle. Now he's in Denver. This is mind games, gamesmanship, chess. They will trade Achane in a New York minute. So believe nothing of what you hear and believe half of what you see. Everyone on the Dolphins is on the trade block, including Achane. And possibly now Jordyn Brooks, it sounds like, too. We'll see. So, I saw a lot of fans. Well, we're not trading Achane. Thank God. Yeah, you think that? Good luck. Let's talk again in a month. Again, I have no crystal ball. They might end up keeping him and they might end up paying him an extension in like June or July and everything. And great if they do. He's earned it. He's a great player. You don't want to lose a great player. But to think just because, Adam Schefter put out a tweet that they have told teams, no, they won't trade him, think that they have no intention of trading him. No, they're not going to hand him away. That tweet if that tweet was honest, like the Miami Dolphins have received offers for Achane. They haven't liked any of them, so they're not going to trade him right now. They're waiting for the best offer. And as we get closer to the draft, we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if he's traded at night 2 of the draft. That Friday, there's always a big trade or two that sometimes heads down on that Friday of the draft where a team thought maybe in round 1 they could land a guy they want. A team thought at the top of round 2 they could get someone, and it just doesn't happen. So then they end up making a trade. That could absolutely happen. But until Achane has an extension from Miami, I think he's firmly on the trade block. No matter who, I don't care what Schefter says, what he's putting out there. Sullivan's at least somewhat honest about it. Not looking to trade him, pause, but we'll take off phone calls for him. So it's like, he's putting on the caveat. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so that tweet was really funny on Wednesday from Schefter. So I want to talk about that. The Jordyn Brooks one, that one sort of came out today. That broke from Nick Harris. So we'll see. As a Cowboy, look, they might find another linebacker who's cheaper and they don't have to give up as many draft picks for. So they might go somewhere else if they can get someone. But, who knows? Maybe here's the deal. Everyone knows that Miami's open for business. Everyone knows that the Dolphins are having a fire sale. Let's just call it what it is. So we'll see what goes on there. And if something possibly happens there. Look, Brooks, I'd love to keep him. And he'd probably be the one out of the three of Brooks, Aaron Brewer, and Achane. He's the one I probably want to lose the least. But if it's like a third this year and a second next year, or a third this year and a first-round pick swap with that, I wouldn't be that heartbroken. And I don't think a lot of Dolphins fans would either. I don't think we'd be that heartbroken because we know what's going on here. This team really is not going to be able to compete until 2028. This year is going to be a hot mess. Next year should be a little better, but it's still going to be a lot of growing pains. So as many rookies as you can get, cheap contracts, get your cap situation good, have very few long-term deals so you're not tied into anyone long-term. That's the thing with the Malik Willis deal. You can complain about that. I know some fans do. They're not tied. It's only a 2-year deal. They're not tied into him that long. They can move on from him so easily. It's crazy. And not eat a ton of money on the cap. So, that one, Zach Sealer getting a little long in the tooth. I think he's still a guy they'll probably trade come November, trade deadline thing. If they can get him off the books too. Because, he's getting up there. We're years away and you can probably get something for him at the trade deadline. So I think, he'll probably be gone around November if I had to guess. And Brooks, Achane, and Brewer, they'll either extend them this summer, or here's the deal. They don't have to extend Achane. Here's why. 2 words, franchise tag. You can tell Achane and his agent, you can hold out all training camp. We're going to stink this year with or without you. You can play this year at any time you're ready. We're going to stink this year with or without you. We're not going to give you an extension now. But then after the year, you're not going to be a free agent because we're going to put the franchise tag on you. And we have enough salary cap space in 2027 where this is not going to be an issue. So then you're going to play next year on the franchise tag. And you're probably all pissy then. And you can hold out in camp again. And we don't really care about it. So they can play hardball with Achane. Now, Chris Greer would have folded like he was in a goddamn origami class. And, he probably would have gave him an extension a month ago and probably overpaid for it. I don't think Sullivan's going to do that. I think Sullivan's going to play hardball here. I think if they decide they want to move forward with Achane, they'll give him a fair extension. And if he says no and he wants more and he's not going to sign it, then they'll say, oh, okay, see you in camp or not and play out this year. And I'm going to put the franchise tag on you. I like them apples. And I got a feeling that's what, and it's not to be mean, it's not to be cruel, but this is business. This is the business side of the league. And you got to look out for the team. You got to look out for the organization. You can't worry about hurting people's feelings. I think the last general manager we had was too worried about people's feelings and was quick to pass out extensions. I don't think this guy gives two flying you-know-whats. So Achane's in that camp. Brooks and Brewer, if they don't trade Brooks, I think they're going to give him an extension. Same thing with Brewer. Brewer's a little small for what they like, but he's been so stinking good. I still think they're going to extend him. Now, the contract Tyler Lindenbaum got at center for the Raiders was crazy money. If Brewer, not that he's going to get more than that because he won't, but if his demands have now suddenly jumped drastically, yeah, I'm not giving him an extension. He can play out this year and walk after this year. We'll find another center. Hell, Andrew Meyer wasn't that bad last year in training camp until he got hurt. I think we'll be fine. So that'll be interesting to watch with Aaron Brewer. If the Lindenbaum contract sort of raised his expectations, we'll see. And then for Brooks, look, I don't know if they're going to trade him here to Dallas or anything. It's just off-season chatter, as they say. But if he's here at the end of the day, I would give him that. He'd be the first one I'd extend, actually. He'd be the first. Got a super chat here from our good friend, our Eric. Thank you. Have a good weekend. I'm like, you know what, our Eric, you have a good weekend, too. You have a good weekend, too. But, yeah, that's all for today's show. Again, I'll be back Sunday morning with a special show. And Sunday night, I think myself and Tom will be back with another show. And then all next week, I got a show Monday planned. I got a show Tuesday planned. I got 2 shows Wednesday planned. Aaron the Brain, Josh Katzker, I think they're going to do a second show on Monday. We got shows. We got you covered like no other podcast between now and the draft and even after the draft. I've also spoke to Marissa. She's working on lining up interviews right now. Those are going to start up again real soon. So be on the lookout for those interviews. We're in draft season right now. And then when it comes to the night of the draft, nights 1, 2, at least nights 1 and 2. On the third day, I'm not going to hang around for picks in round 7 unless they start trading up and have more picks around 4 and 5. Nights 1 and 2 live right here on our YouTube channel. Myself, Josh, Aaron, Tom, and a lot of surprise guests. I already got them. It's going to be a lot of people. So be on the lookout for that. So make sure draft night, make a note on your calendar. Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. We have so many picks on that Thursday and Friday. If they make right now, they got 7 of the top 94. It's going to be jam-packed wall-to-wall coverage like no one else can provide. Everyone, have a great Friday night. Check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Bunch of new articles up. Good information's up. Check that out. Dolphins Talk Extra. Right now, we're taking sign-ups for our fan mock draft. Now, what's our fan mock draft? We did this last year. First off, you got to be a Dolphins Talk Extra member. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. $5 a month. You get bonus podcasts. You get access to a private message board. We have contests with great prizes. Right now, we're auctioning off. We have our March Madness contest there, like with brackets. First prize is a full-size replica helmet, black, Tua Tagovailoa. I know Tua's gone. This is still a cool prize, and you're automatically entered in this stuff. Okay, and what we did last year and what we're going to do again this year is our fan mock draft. And in the fan mock draft, you got to be a Patreon member. You sign up for it. April 17th, Friday night, the Friday before the draft. We come on a show like this, only for our extra members. And 1 week before, you're going to be randomly assigned a team. All depending on how many people sign up, you might be randomly assigned 2 teams. So say you're assigned Cincinnati and Minnesota. And then we do a mock draft. And each pick, who's ever got that team comes on. A couple minutes, he tells who you're picking and why. Next team, that person comes on with us. Tell us who you're picking and why. Next team, tell us who you're picking and why. And we go through it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a Friday night. You can have a drink or two. We have a lot of fun with it. And you got to be a Dolphins Talk Extra member. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's the best. It's $5, folks. You spend more on that than a cup of coffee every day. It's only $5 a month, once a month. Spend it. You will love it. I'm about to do an extra show right now once I'm done with this. So be on the lookout for that. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Blue Sky at Dolphins Talk. And that's that's everything. Everyone have a great Friday night. Have a great Saturday. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, when you're out on the roads traveling around, we still must put an end to highway profanity.